Right now, there is only one kind of human on Earth. But that's actually a very recent development. For most of human history, nearly 2 million years of it, there were multiple species of human alive at the same time. Different lineages spread across different continents, each solving the survival problem in their own way. What to eat, how to stay warm, how to outlast the winter. Then, one by one, they disappeared. The Neanderthals, our cold-adapted European cousins who had survived 400,000 years of ice ages, were gone roughly 40,000 years ago. The Denisovans, a sister lineage to the Neanderthals who ranged from Siberia to the tropics of Southeast Asia, were gone sometime after that. Homo floresiensis, the tiny hunters of Indonesia, were gone around 50,000 years ago. We've now identified at least 12 distinct human species. None of them made it. For most of human history, if you'd looked across a valley, there was a real chance that something looked back that was almost but not quite you. Now there's only us, and this loneliness is practically new. So what happened? Here's where most people assume they already know the answer. We were smarter, more advanced, the natural endpoint of something that had been building for 2 million years. The others were old versions. We were the upgrade, but that assumption doesn't survive contact with the evidence. So what actually separated us from the species we replaced? Was it language? Neanderthals had the FOXP2 gene, the same modern version we have, the one associated with the capacity for speech. Their hyoid bone, the small bone in the throat that helps shape sound into language, was shaped exactly like ours, so they almost certainly spoke. But we just don't know what they said. Was it caring for each other? At Denny in Georgia, researchers found a Homo erectus skull. 1.8 million years old. Every tooth was gone. But the jawbone had completely healed and smoothed over. That takes years, which means someone kept this person alive, probably by chewing food for them or sharing soft food. Or was it treating death as something that matters? Neanderthals buried their dead. There are multiple confirmed burial sites. In La Ferracie, France, 8 Neanderthals were buried together. But the stranger case is Homo naledi. Homo naledi had a brain smaller than a chimpanzee's, 560 cubic centimeters, less than half of ours, and it carried its dead deep into a pitch-dark cave system and left them there 300,000 years ago. The caves were so narrow, so dark that there's no obvious practical reason to go in at all. But they went anyway. Or was it symbolic thinking, art, that made us different from others? No. Cave markings in Spain have been dated to over 65,000 years ago. But Homo sapiens didn't arrive in Europe until roughly 45,000 years ago. So someone else made those marks. So if they had language and care and burial and possibly art, why are we the only ones left? And the harder question, what did we have that they didn't? Because if the answer isn't language or empathy or ritual or creative thought, then what is it? What does Homo sapiens actually bring to this story that justifies being the last one standing? The theories we do have are not flattering, and the answer when it comes is a lot stranger than we were smarter. There are 4 main theories. The first is direct violence. Because the timing is very suspicious, everywhere sapiens arrived, other species vanished within a few thousand years, but there's almost no physical evidence in the bones. No weapons lodged in Neanderthal skeletons. It probably happened. We just can't prove it from what survived. The second is out-competition. Sapiens had wider trade networks, faster changing tools, more flexible diets. Under resource pressure, the more adaptable species tends to win. But Neanderthals survived 400,000 years of European ice ages. They were not fragile, so why did they suddenly collapse within a few thousand years of our arrival? That's still unclear. The third is interbreeding. That we didn't replace them, we absorbed them. This one is confirmed by DNA. But the numbers are small. 1 to 4% Neanderthal in a modern human genome isn't really a merger. It's trace. The fourth theory is climate and bad demographic luck. Neanderthal genetic diversity had already collapsed roughly 65,000 years ago, before we even arrived in Europe. So those small, fragmented populations, already weakened before we arrived, pushed past the edge by the pressure of sharing territory with us. The honest answer is probably all 4, in proportions we can't measure from bones. But if you want to know what Homo sapiens specifically had that the others didn't, honestly, that's one of the hardest questions in the whole story. Neanderthal brains were, on average, larger than ours. The real difference was something stranger. We could cooperate with strangers through shared stories. Money is a story. Laws are a story. Nations, religions, corporations, none of these exist in the physical world. You can't touch them. But they let millions of unrelated people act as one coordinated group, build things together, go to war together, trade across distances that neither party has ever crossed. Neanderthals may have had language. The evidence that they had this, the kind of abstract shared belief that lets 50,000 strangers build a city, is thin. In a competition between two species, the one that can coordinate at scale wins almost every time. Not through intent, just through the pressure of more people, moving faster, sharing strategies, taking up more space. We didn't beat them because we were more human. We beat them because we could build worlds out of ideas, and fill those worlds with strangers. But here's the thing. The story I just told you, the one where the other humans disappeared, isn't entirely true. If you're from outside sub-Saharan Africa, roughly 1 to 4% of your genome is Neanderthal. Not metaphorically, literally. The DNA is in you right now, including certain immune system genes and possibly some traits related to skin and hair too. Carried forward, selected for, still here. And to add to that, modern Tibetans can live at high altitude, can breathe normally at the roof of the world because of a gene called EPAS1. That gene is Denisovan, a species we didn't even know existed until 2010, known for most of that time from a single finger bone, gave modern humans the ability to live in the Himalayas. The Denisovans are gone as a population. Their altitude adaptation is not. The other species didn't just vanish. Useful parts of them were quietly inherited, kept by natural selection, still working. But the strangest piece of evidence comes from a single bone fragment found in a cave in Siberia. In 2018, researchers sequenced the genome of a girl from Denisova cave. She was found as a single fragment of bone, small enough to fit in your hand. But the genome was clear enough to read her full ancestry. Her mother was a Neanderthal, her father was a Denisovan, 2 different human species, 1 child. She died in that cave in Siberia 50,000 years ago. Researchers named her Denny. The 2 species we thought of as separate, with sealed-off lineages, they weren't. They met, they mixed. And we only know about this one encounter because a small fragment of bone survived 50,000 years in a Siberian cave, and we learned to read it. Across all living non-African humans, roughly 20% of the total Neanderthal genome survives, spread across billions of people in tiny fragments. No individual carries more than 4%, but collectively, the genome is still here. So the species might be gone as a population, but their genome is not. But still, there's a reason why we have their DNA, and not the other way around. For most of human history, Earth had multiple kinds of human in it. They didn't fail. They weren't stupid or weak. Some of them buried their dead and painted cave walls and kept their disabled alive. What they didn't have was each other, at least not at scale. Floresiensis were isolated on an island named Flores. Neanderthals in fragmented pockets across Europe. Denisovans spread so thin across Asia they barely knew each other existed. But we were different. We were a network, connected across distances, coordinated with strangers, sharing strategies faster than any of them could adapt. Networks don't get absorbed by islands. Islands get absorbed by networks. What's left of them in our DNA is just what natural selection found useful. The rest disappeared.